When it comes down to Metroid X-Fusion, I want to speak to Meta Aquarius and anybody who had any part in working or testing on that game. I want to say first and foremost that I respect the hell out of the fact that whatever vision you had, Aquarius, whatever you had locked in the mind's eye, whatever you had in your creative palace, whatever vision that was, you adhered to it, you stuck to it, and you cultivated that and turned it into exactly what you wanted. You weren't worried about, oh my god, what if the people who are skill issued and bad at the game are going to be upset that they can't play it? Oh my god, what if the people who are casual, they won't be able to understand, or they won't be able to go against the grain and push themselves in order to feel some sort of reward for actually, conquering an obstacle and actually completing an objective that took a little bit of hard work and sweat that makes the hairline glisten a little bit. Wow, what would I do without the ability to actually get good? And I understand that. You stuck to that vision. You made it for the people you wanted to play it. And I will always respect that. That being said, the game itself is pretty damn good, guys. Like overall, don't get me wrong, very frustrating moments in 1.0. Some very confusing routing options that are available to you in 1.1. Have not played 1.2, so I can't talk about 1.2, but I do hear that it comes equipped with an easy mode. So that's an interesting thing for them to have added to the game for the people who may be getting skill issued. Sucks to suck, I guess, but pulling into the actual game, I enjoyed it. I had a good time. Very frustrated that some of the routing options end up being a bit confusing because the game wasn't necessarily signposted well. As you guys saw, I went up, down, all around looking for the right way to go, and I ended up basically doing reverse item order for like the last third of the game. I'm over here, still haven't found Nightmare. I got Plasma Beam, I got Space Jump Boots, I got level 4 missiles. Still looking for Nightmare, by the way. Still no gravity suit. I'm underwater infinite bomb jumping because 1.1 allows you to do that. Got carpal tunnel almost from it, from mashing the button that hard. And I'm here to tell you right now, I was not in good headspace going through all that. My thumb is still might need a cast. I might actually have to go see a medical professional because there was no reason for me to do that, but because I'm stubborn and because when I see something, I go out there and do it, because in my mind, if the game isn't outright saying you can't do it, I'm gonna try it. That is how I've always approached Metroidvania games. Curiosity killed this cat and my thumb, and unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about that, but that's not the game's fault per se, because I made that choice. So, as a Metroidvania game, the fact that it gives you a lot of choices and a lot of the ways you can tackle routing the game, hey, great job. Hey, you crushed it, brother. Knocked it out of the park, sister. You really showed us what for. That was really good stuff. Now, we don't even need to talk about Sector X. We don't. That was terrible. Everything about that was awful to me. Now, obviously, you can calibrate the damage, and you can, slowly make the SAX shoot a little bit slower. And I understand you wanted this to be the real deal, holy field. Oh my God, everything's trying to kill us. I hate it here. I'm gonna die. I understand that's what the experience you wanted to give to us, and trust me, we got it. We got it. Hated every frame of it, but we got it. And as you could probably see from other people's reviews, they were not fans of it either, but I digress. As far as being a technological marvel, yeah, this is far and away one of the single greatest fan creations I've seen of anything. Art, fan game, music, remix, whatever it is, this is in the upper echelon. It's a first ballot Hall of Famer. It is everything that you probably would want to see, from the visuals, from trying to set up the fact that we have cutscenes in Super Metroid, which is emulating what we got in the original Fusion back on the GBA. Jesus Christ, 23 years ago? I'm old. And ultimately speaking here, it culminates in an experience that, wow, reminiscent of Fusion, is in its own tier. And I can genuinely say, as someone who's not a big fan of Fusion because of the crippling lack of movement options and the fact that, you know, you can't like single wall jump and things of that nature, I feel as though the map design of this allowed the people who like the freedom of Super Metroid to still have something to look forward to, still something to cut their teeth on and enjoy and take a bite out of in terms of, you know, traversal of the map. So I'll give you props there. The bosses, I don't want to necessarily say that they're the highlight, but if we're being honest, from the suite of bosses, the remixed bosses, the brand new bosses, and of course, the creative ways that you kill and interact with some of these bosses, this is an S tier ROM hack off that alone. Like, even if we don't even talk about anything else, that alone was some elite gaming. Okay, like the bosses, if there's ever a boss rush cut or mode implemented into X-Fusion, I will be down to play that because the bosses in the game are super sick. I do think that getting the Shine Spark in the Dragon boss, a little bit inconsistent. Like, sometimes Samus, she just wouldn't start. Like, even when I run from the exact same spot, she just wouldn't start because the way she interacts with the sand. Maybe giving people one more tile of a Ceres skeleton or one more tile that's just like solid cement, cool. But once again, boss fights were great. Obviously, everything else you could probably chalk to numbers, such as if you ever played 1.0 and to an extent 1.1, which 1.1 was better. But when you didn't have any suits in 1.0 and you got hit with like a water bottle could be like, boop. Samus is like, I need to go to the emergency room. They did a whole energy tank and a half of damage. I'm dying. Oh my God, I'm dying. Oh, please, please, God, help, help. And it was like, bro, we barely even tapped you. It could be a regular level 1 side hopper. There was a point in the game when you get to, I think it's the Pyro sector. It's a PYR. There's a section in that game where there's like little refill bugs that come out of the pipes. Refill bugs. If you don't know what a refill bug is in traditional Metroid, I guess, fandom and colloquialism, it's the little bugs that come out of like a little pipe, little hole in the wall, and you shoot them. They normally die in one hit, and when they die in one hit, they leave a drop, and they're refill bugs because you can sit there and you can replenish infinitely because they keep spawning, right? Now, obviously, these ones were not infinitely spawning, but they look like little tiny refill bugs that should probably be killed with a charge shot or a missile, right? Don't let them things hit you. Don't let that thing come out of the pipe and hit you. It was doing like a tank and 3/4 worth of damage. And if you don't have speed booster and you get into that room, God help you. God have mercy on your soul. I don't know what religion or God or master you serve, but I want to make sure that you have a fantastic relationship with it, them, him, or her. Because it's bad news bears if those things touch you. And obviously, those are number things. You can calibrate those. But ultimately, given what Fusion was, and given to fast forward 23 years later, where we are now with X-Fusion, hey, bravo, brother. Bravo. Bravo to you. I don't know if you had your testers. I don't know what version that they played, but I don't know how, once again, I don't know how 1.0 got made. But if you see the end of the playthrough and you see how that ended, you can tell I was hot. I was not in the mood with Sector X. Sector X genuinely made me frustrated. I was genuinely angry. Like, I was genuinely sitting there in my seat, ass chapped, needed lotion, needed some sort of lubricant, because I was getting raw dogged flogged by that sector. And mainly, it was 2 rooms. It was the first room where you interact with the sacks, and then obviously you sit in that little hole evaluating and scoping out the situation, and you get hit with a wave beam shot straight to the chest and you just insta die. But the other room, and I couldn't stand this room, it's a room that's the checkpoint. I think it's the first checkpoint, but you have to run right, do a jump on top of a Metroid. If the Metroid was one tile lower, it'd have been a great room. It'd have been fine. But if you don't pivot at the exact right spot, the Metroid height is here, and your boot gets like right here. Not quite enough to clear it, right here. And then you just roll into it, fall, and then the other Metroids up at the top of the screen unfreeze, and then it's a nightmare trying to clear that. Now, luckily, adding the checkpoints, I know that's a very non-Metroid thing to do, but given the circumstances there, it was definitely necessary. If anybody used save states like I did, I wouldn't even blame them, because it was frustrating. Especially when you do the speed booster sector and then you die to the eye door at the end, then you have to go back at the nah, man, that was rough. I was not green eggs in having that one. That was tough, as the kids say today. But ultimately, if I had to give it like a true rating, I can't rate it like a ROM hack, because as a ROM hack, sure, 5 out of 5 stars. But that one was like its own unique experience to the point to where it's kind of in a different tier, which is unfair to do to it. So I had to rate it as like its own unique game. And there, it's a 4 out of 5. It's a 4 out of 5. An 8 out of 10. It's really good. Now keep in mind, I don't give out. I don't think I've ever given out a 10 in my life, outside of the original Super Metroid. And no, I think that's it. I think that might be the only true 10 video game I've played. And trust me, I've played a lot of video games. So obviously, being in the 8 territory, hey, you ain't got to worry about me being a hater. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, you ain't gonna worry about me being a hater. But man, playing 1.0 for the first half of the game and then 1.1, my experience is a little, I don't want to say odd, a little uneven, but playing through it, it felt like for every peak moment, every, ooh, I love this, there was a moment that was a daunting task that felt like it was going on too long, overstayed its welcome, and was like, and you may be saying, if that's how you feel, how can you give the game a 4 out of 5 as a game, or 8 out of 10 as a game, and a 5 out of 5 as a ROM hack, just because it was a, a technological marvel on how this even came to be over like, what was it? Took you like 14, 15 years to make this? And the reason why I say that, and why I can do that and can justify it, is because most of the problems that I have are numbers tweaks. Tone the damage down here, maybe make a tile or two here a slightly different color, because there are some progression level secrets that if it's not even about having a keen eye, you just kind of have to know or just try it out to get to. So I do think that that's a little mean, especially when you get ice missiles. I went up in Sector 5, found the sacks, and got power bombs. So that was my first power bomb expansion. I had gotten like 24 power bombs by the time the game told me, I'm authorizing the use of power bombs. Like, fam, I already have 25 of them. What do you mean you're authorizing it? It's been done. And, you only get 2 power bombs per expansion. So if you go up that way, which is apparently a sequence break, I got power bombs. You use 1 power bomb to start the sax chase. You only have 1 power bomb left. You go into a room that's a dead end. So I used the power bomb there. Because why wouldn't you? Turns out it's a dead end because there's nothing in there. You're supposed to use that room to juke the sacks out. So then I went to the right, and there was, unfortunately, a power bomb sack. So you had to blow it up with power bombs. Remember I said you only get 2, and I used 2? Well, now I'm cooked, because there's a lava pit to my left, and it's just GG's and goodnight Irene. So, once again, signposting, a little weird. Routing, a little weird. But once again, a lot of these are just small little patch changes that can be fixed. And I don't want to say that something is dog water when it's numbers. It's not like a design thing. make that do 60% of the damage that it's doing and just tone that down. Maybe make this a little bit more visible, and it'd be cool. Also, the the X reserves? I don't know how I feel about those because they like refill after every 10 seconds, and it's just weird because I never abused it. Half the time I forgot that I even had them, and the one that you hid on the other ship was insane. I don't want to spoil exactly what I mean by other ship, but there's a section in the game where there's a ship. And here's what I thought the lore was the first time and why I didn't destroy the ship. I thought that it was hurting me because now that I have the X parasite in me, my ship doesn't recognize me, therefore it's hurting me. But when I get the X parasite that restores me at the end of Fusion, the ship will let me on because now it's me again. That's what I thought was happening. Then you blow it up and the ship is an X parasite. You're like, all right, bro. But yeah, overall, X-Fusion is pretty good. I definitely, I would recommend it. I give it a glowing recommendation out of 10.